What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Plant Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Willie Rodriguez, and today, as always, we're going to continue to educate you and bring that business to the industry that we're in, the green industry. Today, we have a very special guest. His name is Jeff Klein, all the way from Sebastian, Florida. What's up, man?
How are you?
Good, man.
Nice to see you again.
So this guy, I've known him for a long time. He's a book of knowledge. He has touched everything. He is the Jeff of all trades. Right? And he's just done so much in his career, right? The past 40 years of being in agriculture. And I want to talk to you about it. And I want you guys to learn from everything he does. He does everything from landscaping to certified arborist. He's a certified arborist, trimming trees. He does crop insurance. He's a crop insurance adjuster. So those are just a couple things that he's done. But we're going to dive in deep today, and we're going to talk about all the stuff he does and how he does them and how he got into it and the background. And thank you, man, so much for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Jeff. So I want to jump right in. How did you get into this industry? Because this is an industry that not too many people, let's say it's an industry that is very intimidating, right?
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
Well, I would say it's intimidating to an outsider that doesn't have any background in it, or doesn't have a friend or someone that has jumped in, hey, come help me or whatever. It's intimidating.
Well,
you're
there's a lot of aspects to it.
There's a lot of aspects. How did you jump into this industry?
I got here in a very non-direct way.
Okay.
I was a student at the University of Florida.
Okay.
Trying to get in veterinarian school.
Oh, wow.
And didn't make good enough grades to get in vet school. I took the curriculum, and all that curriculum to get in vet school led me to a degree in agricultural, a BS in agriculture in the College of Animal Science.
Okay.
So I was taking a lot of pasture classes. I was taking a lot of soil classes. I was taking a lot of agronomic stuff and biology classes. So the curriculum, when I didn't get into vet school, kind of led me. I got a job with USDA as soon as I graduated from college. And that USDA job was right after there was a freeze in Homestead. It actually snowed in Homestead in 1977.
Oh, wow.
In 1977, it snowed in Homestead. So long story short, I started to work for USDA as a loan officer, and I met grove owners and row crop farmers and nurserymen that were down here.
Okay.
And that job led to an opportunity to go work at Atlantic Fertilizer.
And you used to live here. You used to live here, guys.
Yeah. I lived in Homestead from full time from 79 until I left.
Until you left, which was 18 years ago.
I left in 04.
04. And just so you guys know, Atlantic Fertilizer today is called Diamond R.
That's right. So Diamond R got bought out. But the USDA job was temporary, and I knew that. And then I had met enough people in that time frame that were, industry leaders. I met the St. Germains. I met Buck Blue. I met the Lavarnias over there at Everglades Sod.
Okay.
People that are still around today.
Yeah, it's crazy. St. Germain, we know them very well. They're awesome guys.
Right.
I love them.
And so so once I got the opportunity to work at Atlantic, then I was calling on them as a sales rep.
Okay.
So I was selling pots and boxes and sleeves and chemicals and clippers.
Fertilizers.
Yeah, soil, whatever,
everything.
Pots, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I saw and I said, these guys look like they're having fun.
Yeah.
Look at this. They're growing plants, real nice, pretty plants, and this doesn't look like rocket science to me.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't look like. So I immediately built a shade house and started growing plants.
That's amazing.
So, while I was working at Atlantic, I started my first shade house. I bought 5 acres out in the Redlands.
Okay.
And then I started growing plants then and there.
Where were you living when you bought the 5 acres? You were living at a house already? You live in an apartment?
I was living at my parents' house until I bought that property.
Okay.
And then in 79, I bought that property and moved into that house and lived there until 1999.
Okay. So you built a house.
I'm sorry, not 1999, until a couple of months before Andrew.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all the way up until Andrew.
Andrew was in 90, right? 92, 91.
92.
I was a little kid then.
Yeah, you were a little kid.
I was 3 years old when Andrew came.
Right. So was my son.
Uh-huh.
So anyway,
So you built a shade house.
but I was always interested in trees. You know, I was interested in animals, of course, trying to get in vet school. But I was always outdoors.
Okay.
I was like right now, the world we live in. I'm not a very
weren't
techie guy.
You weren't on your iPad back
No.
in 1970.
Hell no.
There was no iPads back there, Jeff.
So yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I just
There wasn't
recently got
nothing.
myself a smartphone because I was on a flip phone forever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm old school.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I learned plants, and I totally ate it up, and it just kept on snowballing. And so I started the landscape, and then eventually in the mid '80s, I started my own tree farm.
Nice. And so basically you filled up the shade house, the greenhouse, and you started flipping that product.
Right.
And then with that money, you kept on expanding into the 5 acres with that money.
The 5 acres was full.
You
I filled the
ended up
5 acres
filling it up.
where that house was, out on Avocado Drive.
Okay.
And like I said, as time went by, I thought I wanted to tree farm
Okay.
versus containers.
Okay.
And so in the mid 80s, we got a hold of 10 acres. I had a couple of partners,
Okay.
and we started off with 10 acres. And over 20 years, we built it up to 45 acres.
Wow.
And it was a blast.
Yeah.
The 20 years was a blast. I miss it.
You did that for 20 years.
Yes, I did it, and I loved it. I made lifelong friends in this industry, and it's very comforting to me to know. So I wore a lot of hats. I was trimming trees. I was brokering plants. I was making deliveries. And I could tell you that it's important to me to know that when my time comes, that I planted more stuff on this planet than I took off.
That's
and I
something
cut
cool.
down a lot of trees.
Yeah.
The people wanted them gone, and I had to get rid of them. I had some DOT work, and sometimes big trees, specimen trees, would be too close to the roads when they were expanding roads, and I would have to cut down nice trees. But my goal is to plant a whole bunch more than I ever take out.
Of course, that's something. There's a lot of people that's how they think, and it's good. You know, it's trees give off oxygen, and we want to maintain that.
Absolutely.
So you went from college to working at Atlantic, which is today Diamond R.
Right?
You started your own thing.
Yep.
Right? And then how did you get into landscaping?
As I
You
gained
were doing
knowledge,
landscaping in college or no?
No. I started landscaping right around the same time I started working at Atlantic.
Okay.
I was calling on these customers, and I was learning the palette of plants, all these different ground covers. I didn't know ground cover from a banana.
Yeah, you didn't know. Uh-huh.
So as the years went by, I was gaining knowledge of how mature and how tall and how wide things grow, and gaining the names. And everybody, I was just eating it up. Everybody that I was associated with was in this industry.
Yeah.
And so we were all
You
learning
took the
together.
opportunity. And also what I liked about you said you weren't just complacent there getting a check at Atlantic. You were striving for more. So you were doing many different things with your time. You weren't sitting around just watching nothing, right? You were building something, right?
The thing that's good about this industry is if you start a nursery, you're your own boss. I guess it's any business, but this industry afforded me the ability to set my own hours, set number of days of week I want to work, how many hours in a day I wanted to work.
By appointment, you could do. There's people that have nurseries that says by appointment. So,
Right.
yeah, they go. They have their day job or they're out doing landscaping, but they have an acre behind their house with trees, so you can go, but by appointment.
I was doing that. I had the opportunity to go landscape for 2 weeks if I wanted to, or I had a tree trimming job, whatever the case may be, and it allowed me a lot of freedom and flexibility. And I just wanted to be my own boss. I knew Atlantic was going to be a temporary thing but the goal was I wanted to be my own boss.
Of course.
So it eventually happened.
Yeah. Which for me, you're not really your own boss. Let's say I'm my own boss, but now since I'm my own boss, I have about 1,000 people above me that are now my bosses, like all my clients and all the things that happen, right?
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't come with
It
responsibility.
comes with a lot more.
It's just
But
responsibility.
it's fun, and it's what keeps me on my it keeps me on my toes, keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you hungry, right? Look at all the different things you got into by just saying, yeah, let's do it.
I feel very fortunate to have made lifelong friends in this industry, and it's such a great industry to see, even today, new plants are being introduced
Yes.
all the time. It's not static. It's not like
The same
like
thing
like
all the
like
time.
if I had a job as an accountant, I'd have to blow my brains out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because,
Every day your office is in a
crunching
different
numbers.
place. No,
But
but every day
day-
your office is somewhere else, and that's what's cool about that.
and you see different stuff every day. It's not repetitive at all, which is very exciting to me.
It's all of it's exciting. This industry is very a very friendly industry. You do come across a couple, right? A couple people aren't too friendly, but for the most part, everyone wants to help you out.
Yep.
Everyone wants to, help you with any tricks or whatever. There's always someone that wants to help, and it's a friendly environment. For the
Yeah.
most part, we have a blast here.
I would tell you this, that if you have listeners that are also growers, producers,
Yeah.
that they should be active in the Florida chapter of FNGLA
GLA.
because they got their finger on the pulse of what's happening politically for growers.
Yes.
You got to fight with the county, you got to fight with the state. You got to, it's not an easy industry anymore. There's some regulations. You got to water permits and so forth.
There's a
and
lot
so
more
on.
things that have been implemented.
So I would recommend that people do be active in the chapters.
Yes.
I suggest that they go.
Yeah. Go, guys. Go.
Stay on top of it.
So you were doing landscaping. You went to college, did that landscaping, doing the jobs, had the tree farm. What made you, after you had been trimming trees for a while, because that's how you did it, and then you went and became a certified arborist?
In 1999, the curriculum came out. Oh, I'm sorry, it came out a couple of years before that. But I actually took the classes and got the certification. I've had that license since '99, and that was a big eye-opening situation for me because xylem and phloem, and yet I actually learned how the mechanisms of the trees grow.
Okay.
And it gave me a lot of scientific information that I didn't have before.
Okay.
And even root systems. And that was right around the time when the new grades and standards was coming out. And the big concern became about circling roots and growing in the proper containers. So the industry is, like I said, it's not static. It's constantly evolving to educate people to grow better product, which is great. That's what it should be.
It's awesome. And so you were just trimming trees without being a certified arborist. That, let's be real, guys, 99% of people that trim trees are not certified arborists. Certified arborist, is when you go to school to learn how to properly trim trees and you get a license for it. So now that opens a lot of doors, right?
Yes, it did. I had quite a bit of work doing that, and it wasn't just tree trimming. The majority of that work for me was not tree trimming. I actually do some consulting where a hurricane comes. So what is our alternatives here? Are we going to cut this tree down and remove it, or are we going to try to stand it up and save it? Mm-hmm. And so now the tree is a patient, and you have to treat it like it's the patient. Mm-hmm. And even though the owners of the property or the home, the tree, may not, just let's get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Lots of cases, in lots of instances, exactly.
No, and also, so you do this consulting. You do this consulting today.
Yes.
We'll get into that now. But you can go and let's say let's say they spend the money to try to save it. You'll know right off the get-go if it's even worth spending the money on it.
Yes.
So you can save a lot of people money, right? From making mistakes, trying to save something that's unsavable.
Too far gone. Yes.
Right?
In that aspect, yes.
So talk to me about the consulting on that.
Well, the consulting I was doing is like if you had a high-end residential home, let's say you had a couple $1 million house, and you had Sylvester palms that were suddenly declining.
Okay.
Well, then through my experiences of being educated through the system of the Arborist program, you can find out, is it a fungus? Is it a water issue? Is it bugs? Is it Ganoderma? What is the situation? So that helps me to help the homeowners to figure out what way to best attack the problem.
So you're like a plant doctor.
Yeah.
And you still do that today if people wanted to reach out?
I do.
All right, we'll get to that. So we'll get his number at the end, guys. It'll be also on the bottom of YouTube and also on Instagram. That is so cool. Because look at all the stuff that you've been able to do by just going to school, learning, and it opened all these different doors. Also, when you show up to do a tree trimming job, you're a certified arborist. So now you're not, Jimmy from the corner with a chainsaw like we were talking about, right? Because it's different. Hey, hack the tree down, all right, great. But if you want to prune the tree, or just trim it, There's a special way to do it to better the tree so it comes back healthier. And where do you trim it? So it's fuller, all that stuff that goes into it. And you learned how the tree drinks water. All the different rings you see, it's probably a different layer that does something different. I don't know. I'm not a certified arborist. I didn't go to school for that. But those are the cool things you learn by going to school.
Right.
And so it opens so many more doors. You're looked at as a professional in the space versus just some guy that's going to come cut down a tree.
Yeah, that was another aspect that kept me in the industry.
Yeah, you learned.
Absolutely.
Something. So you would recommend for anyone that has a tree trimming company to at least either the owner go or someone that they hire go, right? Staff or someone like that, and become a certified arborist?
Actually, as time goes by, more and more tree services are hiring arborists. They have an on-staff arborist because it's not like with their head in the sand anymore.
Exactly.
It's becoming very promoted. It's being more in the open to say there's a proper way to do this. And so big tree service companies are hiring arborists.
Yeah, they're hiring.
And it's, again, like I'm telling you, it's not just about trimming a tree.
Yeah.
It's about taking care of a mature tree versus an immature tree. It's the care of a street tree. Like you have street trees that are in grades.
Okay.
And they have different needs than a tree that's grown in a park.
Okay.
So
cool.
all these different aspects come into play of how you're going to do tree care for those trees.
That interests me so much. I wish if I had time, if I wanted to, I could do it, right? Become a certified arborist.
Yeah.
But we don't trim trees. But it'll be fun, though. I like it just because I love learning, right? I'm like a sponge. Yeah, no one knows everything. Every day I learn. SpongeBob. Sponge Will. Every day I learn something new. Every day I meet somebody else that's interesting, and I get to pick their brain. And it's so cool. Like right now I just learned, obviously self-consciously I knew that stuff. But now you brought it back to the aspect for me in my mind. And it's very interesting.
Something that strikes me to be very interesting is when you go visit a city out of town, how good of a job are they doing with their landscaping as a city?
Yeah.
And are the medians taken care of after their landscape? Because I see a lot of too often, landscaping goes in, but then there's no maintenance to follow up, and then it doesn't look good in a short amount of time. Taxpayer dollars.
Well, we see it too because we go out, we do vlogs, we go out, we do videos with different people, and we see beautiful landscaping, but then there's no maintenance backed up behind it, and it's not, let's say, the landscaper's fault because maybe they don't want to do maintenance, right? They just do landscaping. So the people that they hire to do maintenance, they don't do it properly. They don't care. They're after the $100 or whatever it is. Oh, you got 30 minutes, hurry up.
Yeah.
They're after the money. It's not so much the love and care for what it is, and that's what we see a lot of.
So I find it very, if you went to the example, Savannah, Georgia. Savannah,
Beautiful.
Georgia.
I love Savannah.
Charleston, South Carolina. These are towns that are known for their impact of what they've done and how they've created street trees and left them intact and cared for them. So they're a treasure.
They're beautiful.
It's a national treasure.
Yeah. No, but it's cool. But being a certified arborist and being a professional, having titles opens you up to be able to grow so much more, right? And be different. Now you completely stand out of, like I said, 99% of tree trimming companies or people that offer that service, they're not certified arborists. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to level up, guys, and you want to go to the next level, you're like, man, I'm tired of these, customers that don't want to pay. I tell them it's $1,000 to cut the tree down and remove it, chip it, get it out, whatever, and they don't want to pay. Now you don't have to deal with that anymore because now you're a certified arborist, and then when you have someone on your team that does it. So now when you promote in that way, and now you give off knowledge about it, whatever it may be, and you're instantly gonna leave that price point of client buy, and now you're gonna instantly jump up into that top 10%, which are the people that have money to do it, and now you can charge what you need to charge, and you just left so many of your competitors in the wind because you're educated on it. You have a degree in it, or someone does to back it up. And look how much goes into just the knowledge of it. How long was the degree take to get?
Well, it's not a degree; it's a license.
A license, but how long was it?
So that's a pretty involved process. and it's gotten even harder to get that license.
Now. But for you, I know you don't know, let's say today, how long it takes, but what
I'm
did
going
it
to tell
take
you
you?
that was a 6-month process.
6
From
month
the
process.
time I took all the classes until the time I took the test. It was 6 months, and that was back in '99. And now the test is even harder. So I have to have 30 CEUs every 3 years to maintain my license.
Oh, so you still have to go and do that.
yeah, every 3 years you have to have another 30 CEUs.
Okay.
And over that time, I got to tell you, this is one of the industries, the arborist industry, that is evolving. They've invented tools now
For that.
that'll blow your mind, because they have a system now where you can climb a rope.
Okay.
All right, I'm not talking about climbing it. They have a mechanism now that you can throw a loose rope.
Tie it to yourself and just pull the rope? No.
It's got connections, and you clamp onto the rope as you go. It's amazing.
And it's safe.
And they have a lot of new machinery now that makes it safer to work.
Yes.
Because before
It wasn't safe.
No, it's not a safe industry. You know, you're talking about a big ticket workman's comp ticket every year. So the industry has evolved, and it's really cool to see it happen.
I love the industry. The industry in a whole, the horticulture industry, is very old school. Very old school. So now we're seeing, with the new technology, with money that people have made over the course of the past 5-year run, let's say, they're getting investors. They have the confidence. They're actually building things. I know someone that invented something, patented the whole 9 yards, got an investor $2 million. They invented something that one day, guys, I will bring him on. We actually talked today about going and doing a vlog on one of his jobs. Two people that invented things, so we're going to bring them on. Right, we're just finding a time. These guys are busy.
Something I didn't mention before also. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you never heard anybody talk about lightning. Yeah. Lightning strikes.
It's crazy. We had about 100 yesterday.
Yeah.
For
yesterday,
real, it was bad.
I know.
All night.
And so now you actually install lightning protection. They install lightning protection in trees and palms now.
That's crazy.
And nobody was doing that 15 years ago.
But look at how that industry has opened up to just so much more broad and brought in so much more to it.
This is how non-static this industry is. Zip lines. Zip line trees get inspected now.
Oh yeah. To make sure that it'll hold the weight.
Yes, to make sure the wear and tear and the health of the tree is still, the integrity is there, because you're talking liability too. Exactly. And so that's an industry that's just now come on board too in the last 10 years or so.
There's so many
zip
things.
line inspectors that make sure the trees are in good
like you
health.
think about a plant, right? Like I look at a plant and I'm like, man, there's so much that went into that. You know, you look at a landscape and you're like, man, there's so much that went into that. People don't understand. They just look at it and like, oh, that's nice, and they walk away. And it's like, because I do that with my friends. We go to the zoo. I was at the zoo the other day and I'm like, man, look at this.
Zoo did a good job.
Look at this. Look at this powder puff tree. How beautiful it is. Powder puff. And then I ask them, what's the name of this one? It's like a little lipstick, and it's just interesting, all the stuff that goes into making it happen, and then all the things, how diverse the plant industry. Let's not talk about agriculture. Agriculture, guys, is more farmland stuff. But let's talk horticulture, which are just plants. It is massive.
Yeah.
And there's so many things. You don't have to go and grow plants to be in the industry. You can sell something to service the people that grow it. You can do something to service the plants after they're 50 years old, planted in on the city sidewalks. Like, so many streams, so many things.
Yes.
From this industry, that it's the neatest thing. I love the plant industry. I'm infatuated with it.
I am too.
So many things.
That's why I'm still here.
Artsy stuff.
I can't
there's
get out
a million things, right? So thank you for telling us that. I want to jump into the crop insurance adjusting stuff. How did you get into that? Why did you get into that?
Okay. So I eventually sold my farm, the tree farm, in Homestead after 20 years.
Okay.
And I wasn't one to sit around and just twiddle my thumbs.
But it was like retiring. I'm going to go move to Sebastian, Florida, have a paid-off house, whatever, and just relax.
Right.
Do what
so I felt the need to get my young kids out of Dade County. I wanted them to have more of a rural upbringing.
Okay.
And so the county that I live in, Indian River County, is a very small county. And I felt like Miami and Homestead was growing too big, and so I wanted to leave.
Okay.
So after 20 years, I sold the farm, and then I was still brokering plants at the time.
Yeah.
In 2010, there was a freeze. Oh, I think it was December of 2009.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it was
We
a
had
bad freeze.
icicles.
Yeah.
Palm trees bent over from the weight.
And so while I had my tree farm, after Hurricane Andrew, once the government started offering crop insurance for nurseries, I bought crop insurance for my own farm for 10 years.
Okay.
And so through that experience of buying it, after that freeze came in January of 2009, I made a phone call and I asked my old agent, I said to him, listen, I know there's damage out there because I could see it everywhere. Somebody's got to be hiring. Does anybody want to hire an arborist? An adjuster? And so sure enough, about within 2 weeks, I got a phone call and I've been a crop insurance adjuster since 2010.
Since 2010. But that's seasonal, you were telling me. It's not year-round.
Okay, so there's many crops that are offered crop insurance. And what happened was hurricane season starts on June 1st. Years ago, the crop insurance policy did not start in line with hurricane season. It started around August or September. So they changed it.
Towards the end of it.
So they came to the beginning of the crop
now they're in the
of the
beginning.
hurricane season. So you're covered the whole time.
You do it for all different sectors or just horticulture, just nurseries?
No, I've been sent to, that's another thing that makes me happy. It keeps me in agriculture. I've looked at row crops.
Okay.
I've looked at avocados. I'm in citrus groves all the time, all over the state. I've been sent out of state. You run a nursery here in Homestead. You run a nursery in South Georgia, it's a different animal.
Completely
And
different.
so it's very nice to see the nuances of location and how people do things based on where they're at and weather conditions and winters. We're not really dealing with winters down here, but they're very much north of Florida. That's a big aspect.
It's a big thing.
So I've actually adjusted many crops, but my specialty is nursery because I know it so well, and I enjoy it so much.
How important is it for people that are listening that haven't got crop insurance? How important is it to actually get it?
Okay, so what I would tell you as a grower, and you turn on the TV, and there's a Cat 4, and they don't know where it's going, and it's about 5 days out, you're out of luck because it takes 30 days. If you order it today,
It takes 30 days
paperwork-wise, it's 30 days before it attaches. So I want to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I would imagine the other people in the industry want to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And so I would recommend it. And so there's different levels of crop insurance you can buy. You can buy a very inexpensive policy.
Yeah, there's ones, guys, that are $600 a year.
$600 a year.
But you got to lose a big portion of everything to collect.
That's correct.
And you don't collect all your money either.
And that's why it's called a catastrophic policy.
Yeah.
And then they have other buy-up policies that they offer, and it's a federal government program. It doesn't matter where you buy it. It's the same program that's, it doesn't matter if it's ABC Insurance Company or EFG.
Yeah, same.
Because it's the same policy.
It's the same policy.
Right. Yep. So I recommend it because you can sleep at night. It has gotten somewhat expensive, but you can pick and choose what you want to do. So if you're growing ground covers and you're growing liners and you're growing broadleaf evergreens, you're allowed to insure them at a different level. So if most of your income was being a liner grower, and you only had a small percentage of broadleaf evergreens, then you might buy a 70% coverage level on liners and only buy a 50% coverage level on broadleaf evergreens.
Because you have less.
So you can pick and choose and kind of customize it. But I don't know how people can go with a big investment. That's a lot of liability out there.
Yeah, because
stuff happens.
You do a 10-acre farm nowadays, you can have anywhere from $500,000 to $2 million in inventory, depending on what you're growing.
And look at the number of hurricanes we've had in the last 10 years.
Freezes.
Well, I don't think there's been too many freezes.
Well, there hasn't been too
in
many
Homestead.
freezes. But let's say
No, I had freeze claims that I worked this year, but they weren't in
Northern
Homestead.
Florida.
Yep.
Northern Florida.
Yep.
But I'm saying that happens. Those are the two
yeah.
things that
Yes.
that that we got to worry about when those seasons come.
And so if I was still a grower today, I don't think I would take the exposure without trying to at least buy a cat policy.
Yeah, it's the only way you can somewhat, cover yourself and your full investment.
Well, a cat policy would give you the ability to have some money to start over.
Yeah,
because you're not going to retire from a cat policy claim because you lost so much.
You lost it all.
Right, but the people that offer the government the way that they've done it now, like I said, you can buy endorsements. So you can buy a hurricane endorsement.
Wow.
And that was not offered 2 years ago. It's brand new, and it helps growers to decide if they want that or not. And it's based on the inventory values. So that's what the premium is based on. So I'm not saying it's inexpensive, but maybe it's worthwhile as many hurricanes as we're getting.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is. It's something to think about, guys. If you don't have it, you could just go on Google and type in crop insurance, and whoever pops up, we can't be giving out names here today, but you could definitely just jump on Google and find it. Jeff, you're a book of knowledge, man. How can you not be with the experience you have of 40 years being in the industry? You were born down here in Homestead, right?
I was born and raised in Miami.
Born and raised in Miami. And you were a surfer.
Yeah.
Right?
I has been now.
Yeah. So Jeff was the guy that would go, just something fun, right? Ever since I met Jeff always worked in sandals. And he didn't care. Jeff always wore sandals. So he would go tag the trees, the field-grown trees, with mud up to his knees, and he was a happy guy, the happiest, chippiest guy in the world. He loves what he does. When you love what you do, how can you not do it with a smile on your face? Right?
Pretty much.
And all your buddies and friends and family and connections and opportunities and wealth and knowledge and just, it's awesome, man.
So when I got into this industry, I was in my 20s.
Okay.
And I saw the older guys. And dropped some names like the Oglesbys.
Okay.
And
the Ingrams.
Plylers. Yeah, Claude Plyler's 100 years old. He's at work every day.
That's
and
crazy.
it's keeping him alive because he loves it.
Yeah.
It's in his
what
blood.
he loves, yeah.
Right.
You take that away from him, it's game over.
Bob Plyler, the guy was a pleasure to be around. And so those were the guys that I was looking at when I was coming up.
Okay.
But what's really, really nice for me to see now is when you consider all the ups and downs in this industry, especially now, the price of pots, the price of soil, the price of everything goes up except the price of plants.
Well, now the price of plants have finally caught on to that. And
it's been way too long. Should have happened 30 years ago.
It should have, yes, sir.
So what I'm saying is what I'm really liking, what I'm seeing now, as I'm landscaping and I'm still sourcing plant material to install, I see now that the places that I used to go to, you're the perfect example. The 20, 30 top places that I would always go to get plants, those owners have now passed that industry on to their
the kids have learned.
Right. So how old are you now?
33.
So there you go. So you're running the show for a couple of years now, and your dad has relinquished the reins for you because it's time, and you've learned under his tutelage.
Yes.
He took you under his wing, and he showed you what to do. But I'm saying when I go to places, I'm seeing 10 places that I used to deal with the owner. The owner's not there.
Yeah.
The owner's retired.
Yeah.
And their children are running the place.
Oh, that's what's good.
It's wonderful.
It's
a wonderful thing.
Because there's not too many youngins in this industry.
It's a wonderful thing.
And then the youngins bring the new flavor, the new way of thinking, and they bring that new age to the old school. And that's what's really lifting up this industry.
That was one thing that was really good about the FNGA that I mentioned earlier. They have scholarship funds.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they have scholarship funds. And I remember when they were passing them out every year, it was local kids to get into agriculture. It was a wonderful thing, man.
So you guys should check that out on their website.
It was, I'm sure they still do it. I'm not
awesome.
involved with the Dade County chapter because I don't live in this in this county. But Yeah, that was going on for many, many years, and it was a wonderful thing to keep the next generation interested in the industry, which I don't think is too much of a problem anymore. The industry is insane.
Yeah.
You got people building ponds. You got people doing koi ponds. You have other people building waterfalls. There's too many waterfall builders. Not too many, but I'm saying there's so many waterfall industry because the demand is there.
Yes.
And even rock work. You know, you see a lot of hardscapes going in now. So these are things, it just keeps evolving and getting bigger and bigger. And it's very satisfying to have been in this industry and see all these things. Yeah.
No, and one thing based off that I see is I love seeing others come up to the plate, right, to hit the home runs, because it keeps you on your toes, right? So the industry is so creative nowadays, right? You see, and you have to be, right? It forces you to be creative.
Sure.
It lets you be creative. Like I was talking to a landscaper the other day, that he's a monster landscaper. This guy, whatever it needs to be done, he does it. I told him, man, you are getting paid to do what you love and create art.
It's definitely art.
Like, dude, you got to that point in your life that you're not having to beg for a check or, oh, please, I'll do your land. No. People are calling you. You have a waiting list of people that want you to go because you're an artist. You do everything, hardscape, the whole nine, everything outside, whatever it is, lights, irrigation, the whole nine, synthetic turf, whatever it is, you can get it done. Pavers, fencing, the landscape, moving trees, moving palm trees, whatever it is. You get it all done, and you are an artist. That you can create any masterpiece. You do it on a 3D rendering that are the coolest things to me, and you're able to showcase everything before it gets done. You can bang it all out, get it done. Everything's beautiful. You're getting paid to be an artist. It's crazy, to do what you love. Yeah. It's like, a songwriter, a singer gets paid to sing. They love to sing.
Right.
It's the same concept, and it's very interesting. The industry has grown so much. It's going to continue to grow, because we're in 2022 and everything is just there's money flowing around. Aside from that, there's also a lot of technology, and there's a lot of hungry people, a lot of hungry kids that they're out here in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, younger guys and girls that are out here that they want to build something for themselves, and they love the industry. That's the other thing that really, gets everybody going and keeps them flowing.
I couldn't agree more. And when I see a well done, tastefully done professional landscape installation, to me, it makes me tingle.
Yeah, you want to sit there and just look at it.
Yes. And so, I would definitely call it an art form.
It's definitely art. I call them all artists, because you got to be an artist to do it. And you got to be ballsy, and you got to be everything, right? But artist, that's what it is at the end of the day. Jeff, thank you so much for coming, man. How can people get a hold of you if they want for some consulting or whatever it may be? I know he does landscaping, guys, but in his area, and he just does a couple a year just to keep him busy.
Mm-hmm. Keep me out of trouble.
That way his sandals aren't too clean. How can they get a hold of you, Jeff? What's your phone number?
305.
Mm-hmm.
Still got the 305. 345-8777.
There you go. And you can text him now on that number, because he ditched the flip phone. And basically that's it. You want to throw out an email?
Nah.
So I'm going to reach you to that? No. Guys, call Jeff. He's incognito. You won't find him anywhere but here, unless you have his phone number or you know him from the past. And thank you so much, Jeff. Like I said, it's been a pleasure, man.
Willie?
Book of knowledge.
You keep on keeping on, bud.
You're
doing a great job here.
Thank you, man. We're going to keep on doing
this.
This
is good for the industry, right, what you're doing here.
We're going to keep it going. We're not going to stop.
Thank you.
God bless you, man. God bless you guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions or comments, you can blow up the comment section down below. I'll reach out to Jeff, let him know. You can call him if you have any questions as well. If you're a young kid, you want to learn about something, he'll love to talk to you for 10 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
So give him a call. You already know, guys. God bless you. Stay hungry, stay motivated, and let's go. The next one you already know is going to be fire. So God bless you guys. We'll see you then. Bye.
Adios.
Adios.